It really has been a week, hasn't it?
And yet somehow it's only Monday.
I truly cannot believe that it is actually only Monday, and today is the day we're recording this.
Yeah, a lot of days still to go.
This is episode 331 of We Were Gamers. Hello, I'm JJ, and with me today, Michael.
Hey, everybody.
Not with us today is our co-host, Andy, who is on assignment. Hopefully having a good time?
Maybe having heart palpitations? We don't know.
Question mark? But he's hopefully having a great time. And if folks follow him on social media, you'll see what he's been up to. Michael, this has been a tough week for me in the fantasy football department. I don't know about you.
They are all tough weeks.
Well, that hasn't been the case for me thus far this season.
That's good, at least.
My team, basically headlined by the combo of Josh Allen and Travis Kelce, have been leading me to victories most weeks, I would say. Well, all weeks currently. I may win this week. It's not clear yet, but it's very close, and my scores are low. In previous weeks, I've had scores like 130, 100 plus every week. And this week I'm in the 80s.
Okay.
That feels very bad.
Yeah. I too have Josh Allen on one of my teams, and unless something miraculous happens here in the next minute, 2.5 minutes with Denver, I should win.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I will win here. I give my opponent a pass for passing a person, or for playing a person who ended up not playing in this game, because he literally had a child today. I saw the picture.
Oh yeah, that's a bye week.
Yeah, so he gets a pass for not starting a starting player this week. Although he could have looked at the tag many days ago and seen that it said doubtful. So who knows? Yeah. Anyway, wish the best to him, but I wish the win to me, hopefully.
Obviously.
But we're within the margin where like a stat correction could get me this week, so I'm worried.
Yeah, you're on edge until Wednesday.
Yeah, it's one of the tough ones. How are you feeling about your season? It's been enough weeks. We can assess.
So I'm kind of split. So if I win that Josh Allen matchup, I'm an even 3-3 in one of my leagues. My other league has just totally spiraled, and I am currently 1-4.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of indicative of how this NFL season has felt, but I have a bunch of good players who just consistently seem to be underperforming.
So the thing I've seen this year, and maybe it's a fluke or just this is how stuff happens sometimes, a lot of the teams that people thought were going to be good have turned out to be very bad this year.
Packers cough.
Oh, well, I didn't say it. You said it. But yeah, definitely them. I know there was a lot of hype around Najee Harris, and he has been a complete bust, I think. He's still playable, certainly. He's a starting running back in the NFL. He's going to be playable.
Yep.
All the starting running backs are playable to some degree. But like people have like on other teams have blown up like the Jets, and no one saw that coming. The Giants have been winning football games. Saquon Barkley has been doing well. He was nowhere on anyone's radar this year. Derrick Henry is still doing okay. I wouldn't say he's doing great, but he's doing fine. But like big hyped prospects, like all the running backs on the Rams have been awful.
Yeah, I dropped Akers. I still have Zeke, but he's not doing much for me.
Oh yeah, Zeke. Oh boy, man, wow. That's been a bad. Like even you can't even blame that one on Dak Prescott getting injured. Like that team just doesn't look like they can run.
No, not at all. Even Pollard spelling Zeke, neither of them can find any holes.
Yeah, they get passing work and stuff, and that keeps them relevant. But woof. Yeah, it's been tough. I've been forced to play one of the two-headed monsters of the New England Patriots running back core.
Yep, I'm in that club. Which one do you have?
The one that's injured, Michael.
Harris.
Yeah.
Me too.
Bummer.
He was playing pretty well, actually.
He was doing fine.
Even for a committee, he was scoring a lot of points.
He was doing fine. I had no complaints to him, and I had to sit him because obviously he's out this week. I also have T. Higgins, who has been kind of on, kind of off, playing, not playing, and he only practiced one day this week, and I'm like, no. He did this again last week. He played like 3 snaps and went out. I'm not doing this again. I sat him, and the guy I sat him for got no points, and he got 7. So I screwed up there.
I was lucky enough to snag Walker off the waiver wire in one of my leagues.
Ooh, yeah, great get.
That was a huge pickup. So hopefully that helps me rise out of the cellar, though it won't this week.
So I think I have to check again. What team is Walker on?
Seattle.
Yeah, this guy was drafted in my league.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He was never on the waiver wire. Someone drafted him. They got him for $1. I play in an auction league, so, it's 12 teams and auction. So the bench gets deep. But yeah, this guy was picked up for $1 in one of the later rounds. Not even a waiver option for us, unfortunately. Yeah, I remember looking at this and people were like, oh, this guy's going to be the number 1 ad this week. Everyone got to get out there and grab this guy. And I was like, who? What? I don't remember seeing this guy anywhere. Oh, that's why.
Because he's already gone.
On someone's roster. And just chilling on the bench, of course. I mean, he's playing him now, but he was, not playing him any week before this week.
Yep. I had seen his name mentioned some in the preseason, and I almost drafted him in one of my leagues with like a 15th round pick.
I got cute, and in one of the late rounds of my draft, I also picked up the guy who backs up Fournette on the Bucks. What's his name? White, I think.
Yeah.
Thinking that, this will be great. Fournette will eventually get injured like he always does, and then this guy will get good work, and it'll be like a great backup. That hasn't happened. And also, the Bucks have been terrible.
Yeah.
Not really, again, something everyone saw coming. Who knows whether it's due to Tom Brady's life imploding around him or age finally catching up to him or the team just being bad or a little bit of all of the above. Hard to say.
Yeah, but whatever it is.
Whatever it is, indeed. I think looking back, people on my league made fun of me for drafting similar pieces to the team I had last year.
Okay.
I had Josh Allen last year. I had Travis Kelce last year. And I had T. Higgins last year. Although I got T. Higgins on the waiver wire, so I don't know how that counts, but I had all those guys. I did not have Henry this last year, but I have him this year. And then kind of the rest of my lineup is just like dudes. It's like guys.
Bunch of guys.
The exception of Jalen Waddle. I paid decent money for him. And yeah, it's been like the replacement level guy has been okay enough for most of this season. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. I think if I hadn't had drafted Waddle, this team would be falling apart.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm okay. I mean, obviously, I've been doing very well, having gotten huge scores most weeks. I mean, Travis Kelce putting in like a 10-yard, 4-touchdown game or something nonsense last week.
Yeah, that helps. And then Allen throwing 4 touchdowns in the same game.
Yeah, Allen having a crazy number has helped. Looking at Allen's scores, there's no week where he has been under 23 in my league, which is 4-point passing touchdowns.
Yeah, mine as well. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that's real good. But, when your other wide receiver is getting 0, another one's getting 2, your replacement running back is getting 4, like, you worry.
Yeah.
This is how you almost lose to a guy who has a guy that didn't play, so tough. You feeling okay about your team overall? I mean, you said that you're 1-4.
Yeah,
you can do anything to salvage it, or you kind of...
I mean, I'm trying to. So picking up Walker was a big help. Yeah, I mean the only other thing that would probably give me a boost is I'm playing that same backup running back game that you've got in Tampa Bay in Minnesota.
Okay.
So I have Madison stashed on the bench. So if Dalvin Cook goes down,
right, that'll be money.
I'll get a boost. But I just need I need the Packers to play better, and I need Tampa Bay to play better.
Yeah, it's so tough to tell. I really don't know where the NFL is going this year. The Jets have won a bunch of games. The Giants have won a bunch of games. Like it
Philly looks like they're beating everybody.
Jeez, the Eagles are undefeated, I think.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, yeah. With the crazy weekend we had last weekend, I guess there's no knowing who will win in anything anymore. For a quick sports digression here, baseball is insane in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. My team's out, but your team miraculously is still in it.
We bumped off the Padres bumped off the Dodgers, which everyone, you're welcome out there. The Yankees of the West Coast. Though the Yankees of the Yankees still appear to be in it. We'll see. I don't know what happened with that game. I thought they were playing today, but I guess not.
I think I saw that the game got postponed.
Okay, bad weather or something over there.
They're having weather again. Yeah. Oh, I think that one is tied up at 2. Yeah, it got postponed until tomorrow.
Okay. So I don't know what's happening over in that series. But boy, all the underdogs coming through, and just really a weird year. Tennessee beat Alabama last week. Just weird sports week.
Yeah, topsy-turvy.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of stuff that's topsy-turvy, I wanted to talk about a game I had played a little while ago. All right. I just finished recently.
We talk about games occasionally on this podcast.
I know. It's really weird to just hard transition into video games, but we do talk about them sometimes here on this podcast. And I played a game that was, I would call it a delight. Just really nice.
Okay.
I played Return to Monkey Island. And I think I talked about this back when, it was announced that they were doing it. And I can't believe they're actually doing a Monkey Island game. It's been a million years.
Yeah.
The original writer, the originals, guys who created the character, the original voice actors in many cases. Wow, what a nice time. I don't know your history. Do you have any history with the Monkey Island games? They're pretty old.
I don't. I know of all of them, but I have never actually played one of them.
So I don't think you need to have in order to find this enjoyable.
Okay.
Certainly if you have, you will enjoy more references and more, allusions, things like, oh, this is when they're talking about this thing.
Sure.
But you don't need to. And I played some of them only a little bit. Okay. And then some of the later ones mostly, and those are the less well liked ones, right?
Yes.
So it's a story for folks who are unaware. This is a point and click adventure game. Though I think you can play it with a controller. It has controller support, so you can walk around using that, and they have buttons for your inventory and items and all that such. So
okay,
no worries about that stuff if you folks like playing that way. It is out on consoles, I believe. Published by Devolver, so they're pretty good about bringing stuff everywhere.
Yeah. This
would be a good Switch or a Steam Deck game. Yeah, definitely. But it is a pirate game. You are Guybrush Threepwood is the name of your character, and you are a pirate, and you're sailing around doing pirate stuff, going on adventures. And in this one, you are searching for, I don't think it's a problem to say, the secret of Monkey Island. What that secret is sort of the point of the game, and I'll let folks experience that for themselves.
Yeah, don't spoil fun.
Yeah, but worth noting, the first game was called The Secret of Monkey Island, in which they emphatically do not ever find the secret. So it's got all the Monkey Island hallmarks: the ghost pirate LeChuck, a bunch of piratey stuff, drinking grog, fishing, sailing, solving weird puzzles, all that kind of stuff. And it is just really so nice. Like, it's just a very pleasant game. It has a very unobtrusive hint system that will help you if you want it. And you can completely ignore it if you want it, right? If you were like, I'm going to puzzle these puzzles out and figure them all out myself, it lets you.
Nice.
It has an option which I had never heard of before in games like this. I don't know if it's common, but it has it calls it a hard mode, right? There's literally a button that says like hard mode, and the hard mode says more puzzles, more difficult puzzles, worse pacing. So this is like they make the game worse. Like they know that these things are dumb, and they
make them take longer.
They make them take longer, but they also have separately is it like the writer's cut or director's cut or something, and it says something similar. It's like more lines, more dialogue, worse pacing. And they just like let you. It's not like up front where you select like normal, medium, easy, or hard, medium, whatever. Like it doesn't have any of that. It's just these options are in the options menu, and you can turn them on or you can turn them off. Whatever.
Interesting.
And there doesn't appear to be anything tied to them. I played the game with the director's cut and the hard mode on. No achievements when I completed it. Nothing interesting involved at all. Other than I will tell you, some of the solutions to some of these puzzles really dumb.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, point and click adventures have kind of an ignominious history for that.
There is nothing as bad on the level of a very famous terrible puzzle in a famous adventure game. Folks that have played lots of old adventure games will know what I'm talking about. There is a famous puzzle where you have to get a disguise to be let into some house, and the way you do it is by getting tape and stealing fur from a cat to make a mustache for yourself. How you're supposed to know to do that is impossible. It doesn't tell you. That it's just like, here you go, you can't get in, you're stuck now, and that's it. Oh, and you have to get a marker to like draw the mustache on your ID card or something. It's unbelievably stupid and impossible to think of. This game doesn't have anything on that level, but it does have some very like difficult puzzles in the hard mode. But I will say that hint book, pretty good if you get stuck. And it is nice that it doesn't just like you click on the hint and it's like, here's what you do. No, it is like truly a hint book. It goes, hey, did you think about going to this other island?
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it with this kind of game.
And then if you keep being stuck, you can click on it again and it'll give you a more specific clue. It'll be like, right. On this island, there's this guy. Did you talk to him? And it's like, that guy really likes this other thing. What about that? And then it will keep prompting you to eventually it will just say, talk to this guy, give him this thing, ask about this, right? And then like that will lead you to the next step. But then, the next step will have something else, and the hint will have a new hint about that hint, right? If you feel you are really stuck. Or you may just go, oh, he gave me this thing, and then it will be like obvious to you, or more obvious anyway, what you need to do next. So I did have to consult hints quite a bit. I wouldn't say all the time, but several times I had like, what do I do with this item? I know I definitely have to do something here, but I don't know how. Or other times it was very clear to me, okay, the end goal is this. I know I have to do this somehow. I'm not sure how to get from A to B to C here. Like I'm at A and I need to get to F. I don't understand the middle points, and sometimes they are very convoluted.
Yeah.
So, but that was it was a really great time, and the art. People have talked about the art style in that game. I think it looks so much better when you actually play it and see it in motion.
Okay.
The graphics are 2D of this like. I don't know how to describe it. It's a very stylized animated style.
I'm looking at the pictures, and what it makes me think of is like fancy folded paper craft.
Yeah, so it does have like edges on everything for sure like that, but it doesn't look like that in the game when you're playing it. I think this game doesn't show well in screenshots because there's depth in all these images. Like it's not like flat pieces on a plane. like the characters have when they turn and when they animate, like there's some depth to the character there. And the streets and the areas that you walk through have some, and it's all art, so it's just how the style looks, but like it feels like there's your character can walk into the background effectively, and it feels like there's more depth in that space. I don't know, so it's one of those. I would encourage folks, if you have any reverence for those games, this game is so cute and like really, really fun. Give it a go. It's not terribly long. Maybe even with all the extra work I did, it probably didn't take me more than 10. It must have been less than 10 hours. But yeah,
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really, really had a great time.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's been, it's one of those games. The series has always been on my. Maybe one day I'll pick one of these up and see what all the hype was, because the originals, at least the first one, is beloved.
It really is. And these writers that wrote this game were the original writers for the first two games that, the first one specifically being so beloved. And, I think they tried to do justice here, and they did a good job, I think, it's cool. Speaking of games that you've always been meaning to get around to, Michael.
Yeah. I finally fired up something new, something that, speaking of beloved games, I know this is a high on your list. But so I installed and launched Trails from Zero over the weekend.
Oh, baby. That's right. So we're making a Trails podcast. Andy's not here to make fun of us.
No one to stop us. So I didn't get very far. I probably only got about an hour into it. Okay. But it was enough to get through the, the opening chunk of story that is a JRPG, and into the beginning of the combat.
So you met the characters. You met Lloyd Bannings.
Yes, I met Lloyd Bannings. I met maybe the best character name in a JRPG that I can remember.
Okay.
Of Orlando.
Randy Orlando, yes.
Randy Orlando. Yep. What a name.
What a guy.
What a guy.
He's such a guy.
Yeah. So I like that it's at least for now a fixed set.
Yeah, you've met your 4 members of the the special support section police unit here. You're the cops, but the good cops. The new member to the team is the only detective on this police detective agency. And
yeah, it's
so did you get to try out much of the combat at all yet?
Yeah, I did. So I like some of the changes they made. I like the ability to stun enemies as you're running around before you get into combat, so that you don't necessarily have to run into them from behind.
Yeah, it's better, right?
Yeah, it's just a much better way to do it, because you spend so much time trying to avoid enemies and swing around to the other side of them, and no, just let me hit them and then start the fight.
Have they let you do any of the managing your quartz and stuff yet, or not yet? I don't remember when that gets introduced.
So right before you get released into your first mission, you get handed a set of quartz, so one for each character.
Okay, but you don't have free reign to do whatever you want with at that point, or do you?
No, so since you only have one of each, and 3 of the 4 characters have the central node locked to a particular element, there's really only one way that you can give each of them one.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting, right? The like central node being color locked and some like color locked node stuff.
Yeah. But it also kind of, it tells you like what kind of a build maybe the devs envisioned for each character. Like, oh, this character is locked into water. Clearly they were meant to be the healer.
Right. And then you look at their arts and it's like, okay, like I'm not going to be able to make them a physical attacker here when I have to use all these blue ones, right?
Right.
Yeah. And of course, you get more options as the game goes on, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll open up.
Very cool.
I really like the addition of the, what did they call it? The team attack as a special turn where all 4 of your characters get to attack at the same time if you want them to.
Is this the one that costs CP?
No, this is the one that shows up. In the turn order, there are the little bonus icons for like critical hit and instant KO and more Sepith. One of them is a little 3-figure icon, and it's a team attack, and so your whole team can attack all 4 of them at once.
That's right. Okay. Yes, that's a cool one. I think there's I am confusing some of the things in this game with some of the things in the game that follows this game, because they make some additional changes to that system.
Okay.
So I'm trying not to spoil you. But yeah, I think the coolest thing about this game, the one that you're playing, is how much it is just about like a single place.
Yeah.
And the place is big, obviously. I mean, it's a huge city and you go around it a bunch. I don't know if they let you walk around much yet.
Not really, no.
But I mean, it's safe to say it's a big city, and you didn't really get any big cities in the first 3 games, I didn't feel, really.
No, not so much.
You get some castles that are pretty big, but I think the cities themselves didn't feel huge. And that's like, and you're effectively doing a police story here, right? You're the police doing some police investigation stuff. And that's like a cool direction for Tales stuff, given that the first 3 games are like, the first game, you don't even know what the stakes really are, right? I mean, you're just a podunk kid from the country, right?
Yeah, like joining the local guild.
Right. And, eventually it turns into, oh my God, we're literally saving the country. And now it's kind of like a reset, you're just the hometown guy coming back to join the police force.
Yep. Humble beginnings.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how you enjoy this one as it goes along. It's, I think folks really, really like this game, and the one that comes after it as well. For good reason, I think.
Yeah, which now has a release date.
Yes, they just announced the game coming after this, which is Trails to Azure, is coming out March 14th next year. That's pretty soon. Really nice that they're speeding up the release of these.
Yeah, considering this one has only been out for a month or 2.
Yeah, has it even been out a month?
Even that long? Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe just a couple weeks. So yeah, the fact that the next one will be here in less than 6 months, that's impressive.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the work for the translation was done by the Geofront teams, which we've talked about in the past. And I think the overall games are somewhat similar. But look, man, making video games is no easy work, so
yeah, even just translating them over to, a different audience.
Oh yeah, and I will say the team that does these Trails games, I forget what their name is. Shoot, Durante, the guy who did the Dark Souls fix and created a bunch of other cool stuff, leads a team that does these games, and their ports are always so good, like infinitely high refresh rate, variable resolutions. You can, high quality assets. There's turbo mode, all the like cool little bells and whistles. But Michael, turbo mode, man.
Oh, I have already discovered it, and I already don't know how I would play the game without it.
How could you have lived before you could hold that button down or press it and go double or 4 times or whatever speed? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, these long hallways that have nothing in them, boost through.
Yeah, buddy. And you're like, oh, there's one monster at the end of this hallway. All right, let it go. Hit the monster, and we go into battle, right? And then you can speed the battles up too. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the 15th time I've seen him cast Fireball. I know what happens here. It's not exciting. I can fast forward through this motion, and it'll be okay. Yeah, it is. Oh my god, the best feature. And you, as the playing these games in this form going forward, will get it from every game from now on. I think, at least so far.
Yeah.
Truly indispensable in some of these. And yeah, I'm sure it looks great and plays great on whatever you're playing. I know those guys have done some really great work, and I think it runs well on the Steam Deck even. I saw folks reporting that, like, yes, this is like a plus Steam Deck version as well for folks who want to play it there.
Nice.
So that's just really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely jazzed to finally be getting back into a Trails game. So stay tuned for further reporting on my progress.
Yes, very excited to hear about that. And as we all knew, it must eventually come. Of course, we're going to talk about Champions of the Continent here.
Yeah. We might take a little more than 2 minutes.
We might. So I finally, I don't think I have finished all of the available story content because I got wiped pretty bad at the end of the Power storyline.
The Bestower?
Yeah.
You started the chapter 1s?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think I have finished chapter 1 of Wealth, and I was doing Power, and I got my butt kicked. And then I did the chapter 1 of Fame, the prologue of Fame, because I don't think chapter 1 of Fame is out yet, right?
No, I think that comes with the next update.
Yeah, so I have not done that one, but I did finish the prologue of Fame yesterday. And it turned out that ended up being important because there's a lot of like useful NPCs in that place, man.
Yeah, there really are for building out some resources.
Yeah, the not just like that stuff, but also the a lot of NPCs that are good for recruiting. Like lots of ones that have multiple hits.
Yeah, the later towns are good for that.
There's a guy in one of them that has like a 3-hit shield crack with a dagger. That's awesome. I was looking for fans and light as well for reasons that will become evident soon. And in Flamesgrace, the town, there is both a 2-hit light recruit ally and a 2-hit fan recruit ally, which were invaluable, I will say.
Very nice.
Indeed.
I have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm curious what your team. So this is all building up to say that I fought and finally beat the first battle-tested boss. Was the I don't remember the name, but anyway, he had the battle-tested bow was the one that I got for winning.
Okay, so the bow is the old man in Emberglow.
Yes,
the tottering old man, I think, is what he's called.
Maybe that's the name. Anyway, fan light weaknesses was the key there.
Yes.
And I have just had such terrible fan units for so long in this game. Like, I think Fabio and Mina were my 2 best 4-star units. Fabio had like a 3-hit random target wind, which is fine. I mean, that's 3-hit wind for a single target guy. That's no problem.
Yep.
But Mina kind of has nothing. It's just like 2-hit fan. It's like not good. So I was looking at having to do, bring some thieves to do shield crack moves or something, and then trying to figure out how I'm going to get this to work when I need all 3 of those plus a tank, plus maybe a healer, and like how I was going to get all that to go. But I got lucky using some Traveler's Seals and rolled a Primrose.
Oh, that's a big boost to your fan damage.
That's a big upgrade. A 4-hit fan. Is it random target? It may be. But
fortunately, there's only one target, so it doesn't matter.
Randomly hits the same guy every time.
Hey.
And between those two, using the Fabio and Primrose, and then using some allies, I was able to crack the shields on the old man from like 8, I think.
Okay.
or a little bit less maybe. Anyway, very high. I could bring his shields all the way down, and that was so important. It turned out. And then I had damage dealers. My Viola doing her thing, the tank doing his taunt thing, and all of that to keep sort of keep the ball rolling there. But man, it was just a really long, tough fight, and I think half my team died by the end.
Yeah, that'll happen the first time or two you go through those fights. But the thing that I will tell you, you were talking about recruiting NPCs. If you can beat them again when you hire them, I think all of the BT characters are 3-hit.
Ooh, wow, that's nice.
And 3-hit at their level 80 strength.
Oh, so that's way stronger probably.
Yeah. So, if you want to do some damage with an ally summon, they're good ones to have.
Don't we need to farm these guys for materials for stuff? Also?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that you can use them for. You can farm them for once a day for the historic materials that they drop, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And those you can trade in 20 something of them for a BT weapon of your choice.
Oh, okay.
And then in addition to that, each one of the BT fights, whether it's the one daily path action or through trying to hire them, you can you get a 10% chance for them to drop additional BT weapons.
Okay, but it's the same one, right? So this guy would only give bows.
Yeah, he's only going to give you bows. Okay. But what a lot of people wind up doing is they'll fight him the once a day, and then they'll hire him as an ally, beat him in the fight, and then immediately drop him and fight him again.
That resets his once a day counter, huh?
It doesn't reset the once a day, but it resets the fight for hiring him as an ally.
Ah, okay. And so that you could do that again and again.
You can repeat that as many times as you feel like farming it.
Got it. You still have the chance to get the material by beating him in that fight as well?
No, so the material is locked to the once a day path action, the contend.
Oh, okay, but the weapon drop is not.
No, the weapon drop is however you fight him.
I guess probably because the weapon drop comes from the battle itself.
Correct.
Whereas the other one comes as spoils for winning the battle.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to doing these other ones, man. Let me tell you, that was a tough road to hoe. I had to prepare for quite a while to even get that far.
Yeah, once you get for 3 of the 4 that are out right now, I have teams that it's basically if I follow the same steps every time, it's an auto win.
Okay, so I'm curious, what have you done this one? What kind of team do you have?
So in the front row, I have Lynette doing fan damage, and then I have 3 light users. I have Merritt, who's an apothecary, and then Millard, who's the cleric, and Pia, who's a merchant.
Does Millard have a multi-hit, or is it just single target light?
He has a single target light nuke, but it does huge damage.
Yeah.
Because his magic stat is so high.
Yeah, I was using him as a damage dealer once I got the thing down, because my Primrose was not highly leveled. She was just breaking.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my back row is all 4 stars. It's Fabio, Mina, Iris, and Mabel. So they're all doing fan damage.
Okay, so that's the fan team there.
Yep, and they're so the way it works for me is the front row does, if I use each of their skills, the front row does 6 hits worth of damage, and then the back row with theirs can do exactly 8, and that's 14 to crack the shield.
Exactly the amount. Nice. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so it works out perfectly, and then I bring in the front row for dealing damage, and then keep them in to tank his first turn attack.
Right, because the first turn was the one that was the most dangerous, because again, one of the times he just one-shot my Primrose, and I was like, well, this is going to be problematic.
And even if he doesn't one-shot you, he'll paralyze half your front row.
And then it goes bad, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had Millard behind Primrose, Viola. I forget who was behind Viola. Someone who didn't matter very much. He just had like a big, maybe it was Fior for like a big single target sword damage thing.
Okay.
Then on the bottom row, it was my tank, who was Gilderoy, and behind him was Fabio. Yeah, for breaking damage. And that was just like swapping back and forth, man. It was just it's a long fight, man.
Yeah. The first time through, they're definitely long.
Yeah, I felt pretty good when I won. But man, it just really took it out of me. And like I had to level several of these characters quite a bit to even get the Primrose because it was new. But everyone else, like, I think needed tons of levels. Oh, Mina was the other one. I forgot. There was one other character I'd forgotten. Mina was the other one.
Yep.
Just to have more fans. But like I said, I really needed those extra allies with multi-hit damage because I like just wasn't able to get enough consistent cracks on that shield to get through. Either Viola would be too busy debuffing or buffing or debuffing, whichever way that went, right? I guess it's debuffing both ways, either debuffing his attack or buffing our attacks on him.
Right.
So she'd be constantly doing that and never have BP to use her like actual damaging skills. And Fior could come in for the big hit, but like that's not useful since it's not one of his weaknesses.
Yeah, it only does so much.
Yeah, versus Millard, who could just drop like a 9,000 or whatever off that guy.
Yeah. So I will tell you, maybe one of the easier ones to tackle next will be the Master of Tomes in the library in Theatropolis.
Okay.
Because you can lock him into a rotation where he can't attack you.
I like this.
So when he reaches 50% health, his first turn will always be to cast magic counter.
But counter?
He's weak to So if you cast a spell, he's weak to dagger and wind. So if you cast a wind attack, he will nuke your front row. Like 99 damage.
Ouch. So don't use magic. Got it.
Don't use magic. But because he's also weak to thieves, it's just easy to use dagger skills to chew through his shield points. So his turn comes up, he uses magic counter coming out of the break. You break his shields down, and then on the next turn, your thieves, who are all fast, hopefully faster than he is, all get to go again, and then he's broken again, and then you deal damage, and then he comes out of it and casts magic counter, and you just loop.
Oh, okay. Wow. So break the shield. He comes back, he casts it again. Break the shield.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
he just never gets to do anything.
Yeah, as long as you have to get him down to 50%. That's the trick, but without losing too many of your characters or any of your characters. But once you get him there, as long as you can break him in 2 turns, he's basically stun locked.
Okay. And you get the turn where he's stunned, obviously, to do whatever you want.
Right.
And he comes back and he comes back, his shields are on. He spends his turn casting magic counter. Then you get that turn and the turn after to break him again.
Yep.
Okay. I think that might be doable. What are his weaknesses?
Dagger and wind.
Wind was the other one? Okay.
Yes.
2 of them that are both weak to wind. Man, preference for wind units. Okay. All right. I definitely have some other dagger folks who are decent. Could probably bring Kless, or I don't know who else I have besides Viola.
The other 3 4-stars are Wingate, Aslight, and Kurtz.
Yeah, I definitely have Wingate. I don't know if I have either of the other 2. I may have. I just don't think I've leveled them.
Okay.
Well, had to do a bunch of work leveling people for that one, so might as well do some more work leveling people for this one too. Yeah, my wind magic isn't so good, but I have Fabio. He's all right. That'll be enough, probably.
Yeah, so that fight in particular actually just got even easier for me because I managed to get myself over one of the high hurdles and beat Tikulin over the weekend.
What? Michael doing endgame content?
I mean, I saw someone recommend a team composition. I realized that I could copy theirs, which didn't quite work out. So I made a few tweaks to the team and just managed to get over the hump. I want to say I had 2 characters alive at the end of the fight.
I didn't hear no bell.
Hey, I was still standing.
The win is the win, man. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So she's one of the kind of oddball characters where her best attacks are kind of go against the grain for her class.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a warrior, but her big thing is doing wind damage.
Mm. Okay, so like the big wind damage stuff there for her, that will certainly help against the aforementioned 2 people, right?
Yep.
So how long did that fight take you, though? It looks like that fight is a long fight, man.
The Tiki-Lin fight, it took me... I was probably pushing my turns up into the high 30s, low 40s.
A pretty good amount of time.
Yeah, because at least with the composition that I had, it made more sense to slow play it and whittle down the adds.
So you were strong enough that you could withstand whatever stuff those guys were all throwing at you while they were all still alive.
Between having a tank with AoE taunt and then both a dedicated healer and a regen caster, it was enough to keep my party alive through most of the fight.
Okay, and so then and with those, you didn't like run out of SP or anything. You were able to do well enough that you could then keep the SP up on all those guys.
Yes, yeah. So between accessories that regen your SP and kind of judicious use of row swapping, I managed to kind of husband my SP well enough to make it through the fight. And that's part of the strategy to slow play it too, is sometimes realizing, okay, this turn I'm literally just going to do a single attack with all the front row.
Yeah, just to conserve SP, because you're not going to be able to do anything else, right?
Yep, knock off a couple of shield points and just save the SP I have and build up until I can actually hit harder.
Very nice. I'd finished the prelims for the Tiki-Lin Cup, and I did 1 or 2 fights.
Okay, in the main event.
Yeah, I don't remember which one. I beat a wizard guy last.
Okay, I don't think that's the...
It's not the... I haven't fought Tiki-Lin yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I must be the one before that one based on how tournament structures would work. But I will tell you, the one before Tiki-Lin wiped the floor with me, and it was not close.
So the one before Tiki-Lin is supposed to be a slightly harder BT fight. That's the level it's on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Because, yeah, that one wiped the floor with me. I don't think at the time I didn't have a team tailored to that person's weaknesses, which obviously is what I need to do.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
And yeah, I got rolled. Pretty bad. But the other ones were not so bad. The prelims I had no trouble with at all. And I think only the wizard guy gave me some trouble, but because he had a bunch of really annoying status effects, like paralyze, yeah.
I find that the way paralyze works in this game is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because in most RPGs, when they have a paralyze mechanic, your character gets hit with paralyze and you literally can't move until it wears off, or you cast a spell to clear it. But this game is an RNG dice roll on whether or not they're going to act.
Yeah, and like sometimes you get to like it's like they cast paralyze, you act anyway. It didn't help, right? Like what was the point? I find that usually most of the time when one of my characters get paralyzed, I just try to swap them to the back immediately. Like, yeah, it's just like, all right, this person's out, swapping.
Yeah, if you can, it just takes some of the randomness out, especially if you're carefully counting shield breaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see. Obviously, it depends on who it is, because then if the wrong person gets paralyzed, well, you need him there, and then kind of nothing you can do.
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, that's like really awesome. Have you been like trying to put points into Tiki-Lin at all, or are you just kind of going for it?
Yeah, so I haven't attempted the fight again. So Tikilin and all the other arena characters are a little bit unique in that you can farm everything you need to fully level them up.
Okay, that's cool.
So the arena exchange has the 2,000 gold guide stones that you need to get her from level 80 to level 100.
And you get those by fighting her again in the arena, basically?
Right. You fight her again, you get fragments, and you can trade those in for the items in the exchange.
Can you use her to fight herself?
Yes, you can.
Awesome.
She's not weak to wind, though, so...
Oh, maybe it's not such a good idea.
Yeah, it's not going to help you a whole lot.
Okay. What are her weaknesses? Is it light again also?
Yeah, it is light, fan, and bow.
Bow.
I think it's just 3.
Wait, that's right. I knew there was a reason I'd been leveling all these bow characters for a while.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
So good that you can beat the BT bow fight, because that'll help. That'll definitely help with your damage output.
Yeah. I don't have Scarecrow, but I do have Ashland, and he's geared, so...
So Ashlyn is crucial for a part of that fight because one of her gimmicks is that she puts up a shield that can only be broken with critical hits.
He has some critical hit moves.
He's one of only 2 characters, I believe, in the game right now who has a guaranteed critical move.
He also has a move that increases crit chances for everyone else, although I imagine it's probably not worth using, maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I had it equipped on him and I used it in one of my runs, but I don't think I used it in the winning run.
Okay.
And part of that is because I have Scarecrow, who himself, A, has a high crit, B, has a crit boosting move of his own. So I used Ashland's crit constantly, and then with Scarecrow boosted his and then kept attacking.
And the boosted crit chance was high enough that you were critting and doing damage most of the time, basically?
Yeah, he's got a 4-hit bow attack, and about half the turns it would crit twice.
It's enough, probably?
Out of the 4 hits. Yeah, you only have to break through, at most, 7 shields.
Okay. And it's not like non-crits like regen shields or anything. It's just they just don't.
No, it pops up a little message that says this does nothing.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's like cool info. I wonder how. Well, I guess we'll find out eventually. Are you still going strong, playing every day, trying to grind everything you can grind, or are you kind of starting to slow down a bit?
Still playing every day to do the daily stuff. I've cut back a little bit on grinding, in part because of where I am. There's just less that I need to grind for.
Right. Like, I guess it's like, what are you're going to farm max hero 8, you're going to farm max arena fragments every day, and like all that. That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Are you going to...
go ahead. None of the content's going anywhere, so I'm free to slow play it.
Yeah. Oh, today you can do a Tiki Len. The other day you can do a BT. The other day you can do a whatever. I feel like maybe your teams are better at it, but like, man, I spent a good 15, 20 minutes fighting that BT guy, and I was done. I was like, I'm glad I'm done with my dailies. I'm turning this off after this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's enough to be like, and I'm good for now.
Yeah, I think that's it's better not to burn yourself out, especially when I still do have chapter 1 of that power arc to finish too.
Yeah, that last fight is definitely a fight.
It's where I got owned. Didn't go good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get partway into it and you're like, oh, I'm not doing as well as I thought I was doing. And then you realize what you actually need to do is not what you thought you needed to do.
No, yeah, I was not. And I didn't, unsurprisingly, it didn't go well.
Yeah, by the time you realize that, you're in trouble.
Yeah, mistakes had been made. Yeah. All right. I think we're champions of the continents out here.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Unless there's anything else you want to bring up here.
No, other than to, hear Andy's report on where he is when he gets back.
Yeah, hope that all went well for him, and we'll happily hear what he's been up to in the last few days. If folks want to get at us and tell us what they've been up to recently, where should they do that, Michael?
Yeah, you can send in the games you've been playing to podcast@weweregamers.com. We collect email in the mailbag, and then once we reach critical mass, we'll read a bunch of them and respond live on the air.
Yeah.
They can also get at us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where We Were Gamers on all those places. And you should go check out our YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely. There's bound to be good stuff on there for folks to watch. These episodes neatly sorted into playlists and whatnot. Folks, check that out. All right. Well, we'll see you everyone next week, hopefully. And until then, happy trails.
Happy trails indeed.